What is going on, everybody? Back with another video, and I got two topics I want to talk about today. One for Xbox, one for PlayStation, and just thinking about gaming in general, especially when it comes to the console side of things, because I think that there's going to be somewhat of a shift in the way the consoles are going to be marketed and the way consoles are going to be perceived going forward, especially with the RAM prices. All these things are going on with cutting cost or raising prices so the companies could cut costs, and also how they're going to proceed to the fans, how they're going to be able to sell themselves and their products going forward. So I don't know so much for the Sony side. I think they're okay, but it is kind of difficult to push a no hard drive console, even though I think it'll sell, but it's going to be a tough sell to come out. But at the end of the day, with Xbox, they're going to have to do something. And with their Fan Fest, they're going to go on a tour. And I want to talk about both of these things. So if this is your first time here, welcome. Uh, Over here, I talk about gaming and everything under that umbrella. I am starting to do a little bit more commentary. I want to do more videos like this. And I just noticed like I do need some more lighting when I look at this. I'm gonna probably get some more lighting in here so I can freshen up the room or whatever. But with that being said, I still talk about gaming and everything under the umbrella. I do put games on display so you guys can watch, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the content. With that being said, I want to talk about Xbox first. Xbox Fan Fest going tour around the country, and I think even the world. I mean, they're going to like all over the place. So they're going to Cologne, they're going to London, they're going to Los Angeles, Mexico City, Seattle, Sydney, Tokyo, and Toronto. They're going to start this in 2026. Well, this year, basically in June, I think. And they're going to go all around the country to get fans back engaged in Xbox. And Xbox is in a situation where they are kind of like stuck in a place where, hey, look, we got to do something with our, brand. The brand is just not there, especially with everything that's going on with this is an Xbox. Asher Shamara has pretty much gotten rid of that whole slogan, and they're trying to get back in the good graces of fans. And I think this may work. Personally, I kind of wish they would have been doing more things in the U.S. I know you got Seattle, you got L.A., but you got got some cities on the East Coast that you really should, think about going to. And Toronto, that's in Canada, but that's not necessarily, you know what I mean. But I really wish they would have done more in the U.S. But it is what it is. And me personally, I would love to go to something like this just to see what this all about. It's basically like a Xbox, and I say per se, it's just like an Xbox prep rally or whatever. And I think this will work out very well, So, on their Xbox Wire, basically they're saying it's going to be a unique location where the Xbox community can engage with gamers and gaming and the people who want to make this a big deal. So I think this is another good step in the right direction. Like I said in my other video, where they're trying to get things back on track because Xbox has kind of lost their way since like 2013, and I think this is a good way to go. But I wish they could have took some more, initiative and bring more cities in the U.S. because I just don't think that the West Coast is like the only area where Xbox is pretty much celebrated. I'm pretty sure people play Xbox all across the country, and I understand going to Mexico City, London, Sydney, Australia, Tokyo. I understand that. Even in Germany, that is a good place to go. But especially in Japan, is going to be a hard sell for them. It is because Japan, Xbox never really done well in Japan, so that's going to be really interesting. As a matter of fact, if they do live stream this, I would like to see what it looks like for them to do something like this in Japan because I would love to see the feedback of that. But with that being said, we'll see how that goes. Also, you see over here where on this other article I'm looking at, Sony PlayStation 6 disk drive going to be sold separately. I'm not surprised at that. It's going to have no disk drive coming out. If you see what happened with the last couple of PlayStations, the PlayStation Slim did not have but one of them was, well, it was diskless basically, and the Slim came with the detachable hard drive. The Pro is a detachable hard drive. So with this is like par for the course. Now, from what I'm seeing on this website, they're saying like this is gonna be a $699 price. Now, I don't see that. I don't see where the the PS5 Pro right now is at $900, and I think what this PS5 right now is at 650 right now, and the PS6 would be 700. I don't see that even without a disc drive. I will be surprised. You gotta understand the PS5 Pro came out at a higher price point. I think it was what, it was 699 as well. I can't remember, but nevertheless, the PS5 Pro right now is $900. I don't see it being at 699. This could be a situation, especially if things don't change as far as the RAM and the computer parts issue. If that doesn't change within the next few years, I could see this possibly being $1,000 or $1,000 plus console. I just don't see them stepping back to having this at 699 because I don't see the price of the PS5 Pro coming back down. You know, that'd be weird. The PS5 Pro be 900 and the PS6 be 699. I don't see that. But hey, I could be wrong. I mean, especially without the disk drive, that could be a thing. And I think this is more of a cost cutting thing in general. If the cost wasn't that big of a deal, it probably will come with the disk drive. But nah, it looks like that's going to be, a thing. I'm not really, surprised at that, especially after you've seen the last two. The Slim and the Pro came out without a disk drive. You had to buy the disk drive so separately. So yeah, I'm not really surprised at all. Now, for me, will I engage in buying one? It's I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is gonna be a very tough sell for a guy like me, somebody who has all these consoles already, and having a console that without a disk drive and personally and actually having to purchase a disk drive. I'm not sure, and that's not like the only reason. That's not like the deal breaker for me. The only thing is like now, really, I don't see any games that I would want for the PS6. I remember when EA Sports said they was gonna do a college basketball game. I thought that was gonna be a thing, and I was like, yeah, I could do that. That's gonna be a game that I will get. Again, they put that exclusively on the PS6 or the next Xbox. Definitely will buy a college basketball game, but that's not going to be a thing now. So I'm not looking forward to that. And also another game that I'm looking forward to is the new rally games. I'm a huge rally racer fan. WRC, the Dirt series, any of those. I know those are coming back in 2027, and I'm looking forward to those. But I'm like, I can probably just buy those on PC. Those are not going to be exclusive, but I would like a physical copy of those games, and I don't even know how that's going to be a thing. Now, one thing I will say, and I'll probably make another video about this. What they could do is do what Nintendo has done with the Switch. These little cartridges that they've done with Nintendo, they're not as pricey. I don't think they may be a little bit more, but I don't think they're as pricey. Putting them on an SD style card and having them, as a quote unquote physical type of situation, I think that would be fantastic if Sony or Xbox will go to that route. I don't think Xbox will go that route at all. I think they're pretty much they may be done with physical in general. But I think if Sony was to do something like, I don't think the disc drive thing is necessarily suffice at this point. I would be more of a fan of what the Nintendo Switch is doing, not the key cards, but what they're doing, put all the data on a small SD card. I think that will be fantastic. Even if they do key cards, I'm not a fan of it, but yeah, key cards, whatever, right? But I do look at both of these situations with Sony and Microsoft. I think that the 699 price, if that's a rumor, I mean that is a rumor. That is going to be a little bit more, user friendly, it's consumer friendly, especially with the prices the way they are. I just don't see that happening. And with Xbox, they're gonna have to do everything they can to try to get fans back in line. I mean, it's just Xbox has lost so much of their cachet for the past, decade or so. You see it in their earnings report. They're not making the money that they want to do on their hardware, and they started losing money on the software side, even with Game Pass, where people are looking at it like, why do I need Game Pass? I mean, I'm not spending this kind of money, for this, and it's starting to show. So they're doing things to make things, right by the customer. And I think they're doing a good job all in all. Got to do a little bit more. June 7th is really going to tell. And I mean, Sony don't have much to worry about. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Sony has pretty much done their due diligence this generation. They're a little short of expectations, but they're not hurting. They're fine. And Nintendo, I mean, hey, Nintendo's is Nintendo, right? I mean, they're doing what they always do. But with that being said, I'm gonna slide out of here. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this video. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. You buy what you want, and basically they're out here trying to sell you, a service. And I think that for the most part, everything's on the right path. But this whole situation with the RAM prices and the way things are going, I don't know how Xbox and Sony is going to actually navigate through that. It's going to be really interesting. But yeah, I'm gonna get up out of here. You guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you did. Let me know, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace.